Welcome to mud season on the Brook Railroad. This morning, all that you see here was covered in snow. 2 days ago, we had a low temperature of 5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, oh my gosh, cold Celsius. Now, clearly I have a swimming pool right here that I've got to work on diverting water away from. That is the turntable pit. So we have water coming down through here, and we have water coming down through the other side of the track. This is spring thaw. So as I mentioned, just 2 days ago it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now it is 54 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty darn comfortable compared to what we had the other day. Comfortable enough that all this snow is melted, and it's beginning to look a lot like springtime. So let's take a look at some of the drainage things we have going on around the railroad today. First of all, we have this little stream going along the track here. Kind of flows down through here, and this looks like it goes all the way down to the drainage tile down here. It definitely soaks into the roadbed, makes things a little soupy. Now I can't even see the drainage tile right now, but it's in here somewhere. And it is definitely draining. So I see water coming down here. I'm probably standing right on it. Oh, there it is, right there. So there's the drainage tile. And it's just sitting there doing its job. Over this side, there's the outlet right here. Maybe it's not doing its job so well. It might be frozen in there. And that could be why I've got more water flowing this way. Not a big deal though, but because it's so wet and saturated, because the railroad bed is so wet and saturated right now, I'm not going to run any trains today. This feels really, really soft under my feet. So you can see we are surrounded by water. The railroad is an island, a causeway, if you will. We have the spring sounds of, sounds like a robin. I don't know, I'm not great at bird calls. It's definitely a spring bird call though. You don't hear that in the winter. At least I don't. So we can see where the water pools up right here, kind of a low spot. Not a big deal most of the time. And we've got water flowing down through here and into Woodchuck Run. I've put all these rocks in here on Woodchuck Run just to slow the water down before it gets to the embankment, because I want to discourage as much erosion as I can. Looking down through there, that flows down to the road. You can see where the sun hasn't been hitting the ground all day. I'll just zoom back here and show you where the sun has been hitting. The water is flowing quite nicely through here. pretty. But you can see we do slow this down quite a bit by adding these rocks. You can't stop runoff from happening, but you can slow it down. On to the next spot here. This is where we're going to pull out this switch. I started building a switch here last year, maybe it was the year before, I forget. But I'm going to move that to the other side of these bridges. And that's going to be the switch for the siding. So, as you can see, we've got track panels lined up and ready to go in. I probably could put those in today, but I'm not going to do it today. It's supposed to cool off substantially tomorrow. So this is all going to turn to ice again. Which means this is a really good maple sugaring season. Now we come up here where the water isn't quite so well managed. This is an area that I really need to raise the whole main line several inches. You can see we have a lot of rotten ties here. You can still see the snowbanks I've left with a snowplow. Water is essentially up over the ties here, well, right up to the tops of the ties and flowing through the ballast. And the only way the water is getting off of this section of the property is through the railroad. A solution I can come up with is I can put a small pipe right across here and going to that ditch right here. So connecting this with this. Or I can just raise the track more. Raising the track more is definitely an attractive solution. Of course, putting a pipe in there is an attractive solution as well. I want to be careful how much water I drain off, though, because the more water that absorbs into the ground, the more it tops up the well. I don't want to have all the water drain off over the bank. But here we've got another stream that the water is created, but it's not quite as obvious down at the bottom of the bank. The leaves absorb it readily. Just realized that looking here, there's a definite difference in elevation here between the water on both sides of the railroad. And I just realized the chickens are out. A bunch of the chickens have flown the coop, as they do anytime it's nice out. So that's a nice breeze right there too. So this is all going to be dealt with. I can either dig a ditch that connects this big puddle with the big puddle further down that drains off at Woodchuck Run, or I can make a drainage spot right here where I'm standing. The easier thing, of course, is to bridge the gap here with a pipe or a piece of drainage tile or something, just to get the excess water off of this spot here and flowing over the bank. Probably what I'll end up doing. I had to come over and take a look at this spot because this is the spot that was underwater back in 2018, 2019, something like that. This section here was completely underwater because I did not have this channel going through the bank. My original plan when I built the railroad was to put it on top of this little bank here, kind of a natural berm. It would have been perfect. But there was way too much vegetation here at the time, and there was a tree in the way. I've since cut the tree down, and the roots were in the way as well, and I cut those out. Right, I waited for it to rot, and now it's not a problem anymore, so I could probably reroute this. Looks like I have an audience. So let's move on up the railroad here. I'm sure the audience will follow me, or they'll go in front of me. So we have water flowing down the ditch here. I thought there was going to be a lot more water flowing down this ditch, to be honest. And I actually put a culvert in here, but the culvert collapsed. Here's the outlet right here. And that culvert collapsed a long time ago. And because it never really flooded here after that, I never really did anything with it. I just abandoned it there. But you can see the water does flow down through here. Just not as much as I thought it was flowing. It actually flows more down the middle of the lawn there, which used to be a hayfield, by the way. And these honeysuckles weren't here at the time. Neither was this tree here. I'm not great at tree species, but I think that might be an elm or an ash. I think that's an elm. And this right here looks like a cherry tree, wild cherry. I could be wrong though. Like I said, I'm not an expert at trees, but I can tell some of them, like the maple trees. That one right there in the center of the screen is a maple tree, and that one right there with a forking trunk is a white pine. Just like this tree right here in the center of the screen is another white pine. Both very much alive, and that one is very much cracked, so it makes me nervous every time the wind blows. I'll take care of it eventually, but it's kind of big for my equipment. So if you look carefully along the track here, there is a noticeable subsidence right where it's really wet. And it's kind of always been there, but it's really pronounced right now. I think that hump over there on the right-hand side of the screen is actually a frost heave. I could be wrong. It could be that the track has subsided in all this wet. I hope I'm not right on that. I hope it's just a frost heave. We'll find out as things thaw out and the water kind of goes away and does its thing. But these railroads look like this time of year. It's almost impossible to prevent some kind of frost heave somewhere in a railroad, because the conditions vary so much. Yeah, you can go in and fix some problem areas after you figure out their problems, and that's about all you can do. You can't, unless you spend a lot of money, you can't really plan for differences in drainage, micro differences in drainage here and there with so light a rail and so small a track gauge. At least the hobbyist can't be expected to do that. Unless you're an engineer, then okay, great, more power to you. Go do a study and figure it all out before you lay your first stick of rail. But for most of us, it's lay the track down after you've established your route, figure that all out, then figure out the drainage afterwards. That's how this railroad was done. Moving right along, it didn't occur to me in my last track inspection video that this rail you're looking at here, which is especially beat up, is on its third railroad. And this rail is probably approaching 60 or 70 years old. A lot of steam engines have run over this rail, none on the Brook Railroad. I sold my steam engine long ago, and this rail's been beat up a lot. It's kind of lost its tempering. You know, when a metal is tempered and it gets overworked and wears out, it is said to have lost its temper, which doesn't mean it got angry. It just means that it's not hard anymore. Oh, here's my track inspector. Hey, where are those reports I asked you for? Oh, is that the report I get? So Batman's here to help me inspect the track, I guess. Oh, I see. What you want, something to eat, don't you? You're hungry? Or you just want to hang out? You just don't like the chickens, do you? No, they're scary. They peck at him. Isn't that right, buddy? Alright, let's go walk along the track. Come on. Oh, you're going to stop in front of me? You want me to pick you up, don't you? Well, I guess that's going to end this video. Let's just take a quick look up the track here. Yeah, there's track there. There's water here and there. It flows through the track right there, and I got to take care of it. Yep. In the meantime, I gotta get this little guy something to eat. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It makes a difference. Please share it. That makes a difference. And please subscribe, because subscribing makes a big difference too. Thanks for watching. Excuse me. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.